I knew there would be a point in time where this happened. I just didn't think it would be so quick. I feel like, okay, let's just rewind for a second. I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, and the internet for me was like a new thing back then. I was privileged enough to see the birth of what we know now to be the internet. Obviously, there was internet before I was born, but it wasn't a social platform the way it is now and the way it started to be then. I remember when I first started using the internet, one of the biggest things, at least back then, was like, don't put your name, don't show your face, you don't know who's out there. In them early AOL chat rooms, you use a fake screen name, Pimp Hustler 407 or whatever the fuck. It was almost universal that no one showed their face, especially if you were a kid, because you don't know who the fuck is watching, you don't know what grown adult is doing what with your pictures. Around that time, shows like To Catch a Predator became popular because there were instances of kids being abducted and just you know what happens when people like this get to people like that.
Maybe I don't know. I expected you to have dark hair. Did you?
My hair it lightens up in the summer.
And no, I'm not saying. I mean, I think you look great.
Like it?
I think you look great. I'm just saying, like you look different.
So shows like this was great for that time because it showed parents, it showed America, it showed the world really the dangers of letting your kids use the internet unsupervised. You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know what type of people they could come in contact with. And worst case scenario, it could be homie here bringing pizza to your kid in exchange for a little bit some extra on top of that slice, if you know what I mean. And for the most part, this is a crazy still shot. But for the most part, what would happen is these guys would get caught and they'd get interviewed, confronted, pressed, whatever. The cops would come, arrest them, and then that kind of would be that. Fast forward.
Okay, all right. So, again, what brings you out here
Fast
today?
forward to the modern age of this.
I was coming out here to...
Glasses off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Fast forward to the modern age of this, you have independent YouTube creators who do this. They lure people through online dating apps like Tinder. I think they use Grindr too, a lot of them. I don't know all the apps, but they use those apps, those dating apps, to lure people in. Hey, I know my profile says I'm 18, but I'm really 14. Are you okay with that? They're like, yeah, I'm okay with that, as long as there's no cops involved. Chat goes on for weeks, sometimes months. I seen a dude one time that was talking to someone for a whole year. Finally decided to meet up with them, and they got confronted, cameras pulled out, cops called, all that stuff. And I fucking love this content. Skeeter Gene is like the GOAT, bro. Like, I love watching his content. It's funny. If you watch the content, you know what it's about. But it's like, it's comical, but it's also like putting a light on something that needs to be talked about. And little by little, it's getting these type of people off the streets. I feel like the reason behind this is becoming lost, and it's becoming less about getting these people off the streets and away from our children and away from potential dangers that they may inflict on our children. It's becoming less about that, and it's becoming more about views and going viral and content. I feel like people are just going to the next extremes of this type of content.
Are you paying someone?
Now, I don't know if I could show this on YouTube without it getting like flagged, because I'm a small channel. I don't got pulled like that. But if you watch the video, you can see what it's about. But if you read the title, random guy knocks out 73-year-old live. You know what I mean? And I'll see if I can play a little bit of it. Maybe I can get like, oh, you see it right here. I'm not going to play the video, but you can kind of see what goes on from like the little thumbnail at the bottom. He eventually gets, I'm assuming from this guy, gets put down because of his hand right there, and then bam, on the floor. Now, trust me, I do not feel sympathy for these people who do these type of things online, try to meet kids, talk to kids sexually, send explicit photos, requests explicit photos. All that shit is nasty work. But I'm seeing more and more now people meeting up with these predators, fighting them, smacking them. Bro, I seen a video which made me make this video. I don't know if I can show it. I really want to show it. But you can see from the thumbnail. This dude kicks him in the face. He kicks this guy in the face. And I don't think this guy hit the guy first. Because if like a predator hits you first, fair game, go crazy. But I think they initiated attacking this man, kicking him in the face, knocking him out right here. And the problem I have with that is I feel like it's going to become a point where that's like what's going to be the most popular form of this content. People are going to want to continue to do extremes. And I also saw a video of a guy, and you know, you don't believe everything you see on the internet, but there was a video of a guy who was on a chair tied up with a bloody face, and the recorder, the person who was recording the video, had a fucking hammer in their hand, and it looked like he tortured the dude, all because of like he lured him in because he was attempting to sleep with a kid or whatever like that. Again, I don't have sympathy for these people, but I feel like I was just about to say, that type of content is going to be more prominent in years to come, in months to come. And I feel like that is going to make all of the content like this, it's going to be under that umbrella. And I feel like they're eventually all going to get banned. Because one minute you are confronting these people and putting them behind bars where they belong. The next minute you're smacking them, making them run away. The next minute you're kicking them in the face, knocking them out. The next minute you're killing them, you know? And I feel like it's not really up to the civilian to determine the punishment of these people. I feel like that should be a law enforcement thing, you know? That should be what it is. Clown them. You're already recording them for the world to see. Like, that's embarrassing enough. Get their families involved. Contact their families. Let their parents, siblings, kids, spouses know what's going on. Your husband's a creep. Your dad's a creep. Your son's a creep. Let that be known. Get the cops involved. Hey, police, look at this chat log. This is what's going on. The moment where it becomes like, yo, let's lure this guy and jump him and rob him, I feel like it's going to eventually get to that point. And I feel like it's gonna send all of these videos away. And I feel like there needs to be a space for this. This content needs a space in this generation, because unlike when I was a kid, now everyone's on the internet, regardless of age, regardless of region, regardless of all these things. Everyone has an Instagram. All these kids are online, and the security checks for age is not that hard to get around. You can just go on any adult website. They ask you, are you 18? You say yes, and that's all you have to do. Just say yes, and you're in. And it's dangerous for kids who don't know any better. You and I might know better because we're adults and we've been around the block a few times. We know what to look out for. But some kids are really impressionable. A lot of them are underattended to. And when they are left with these devices, then they might get into some trouble. But seeing content like this might prevent them, or at least might make them think twice about how they interact with people online. But when this content is just, let's beat them up, the cops aren't going to care at that point, because it's like you assaulted someone, and a lot of these things aren't like cut and dry cases where they'll just automatically go to jail. Like, there has to be process. But I feel like I'm rambling. I want to know how the community feels about this. Again, I love what Skeeter Gene is doing. I think Vitaly is doing a lot. He's doing a lot with this content. And there's a lot of other creators who do this type of content that I like. But I feel like, you know, assaulting people, taking justice into your own hands, it might not be an extreme thing right now, but I can see it going down a more extreme path. Like I said, I seen the video of the dude tied up to a chair, face bloody. Yeah, just I at the end of the day, man, just let the cops handle it. You're not the law. You shouldn't take that into your own hands, and you shouldn't assault people unwarranted. And yeah, that's how I feel.